Welcome to my raid farm tutorial. This tutorial is going to be a little different than most raid farm tutorials. One, because we're not building a giant structure way up in the air. It will be a little bit taller than the original outpost, but not very much taller. I chose this particular outpost because of one thing. If you watched my last video, you'll know that if an outpost extends over the southeast chunk border, then it has 4 spawning points. North, south, east. This outpost right here will have 4 spawning points. That should speed up the time between our raids and increase our efficiency. More raids, more drops. The number of drops per raid won't change depending on how you design this, but the number of raids will increase the number of drops. It'll also increase the experience you receive from this. This raid farm, unlike most raid farms, won't have 2 trident killers. It'll only have 1. It'll have 1 switch to turn it on, and the same switch will turn it off. There won't be multiple switches. There won't be multiple trident killers. It's a very simplified and easy to build design. The first step is just to check the Y value of your outpost. Ours is at 84, so keep that number in mind. The next thing we need to do is remove the outpost. If you're in survival, tear it completely down. Use your axe, pickaxe, that kind of thing, tear it completely down. We're in creative, so we're just gonna use a command. Okay, notice I removed all the blocks in this chunk down to the ground right there. Now notice that these blocks are outside of the chunk. Those are what actually give it its extra spawning points. Because, as you can tell, this outpost extended into this chunk. It extended into this chunk this way. You also don't need those. Tear those down too. Now this, when you have a 4 spot spawning points like this, they're always in the exact same locations. And here's where they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spawn point. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spawn point. One, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 spawn point. Now you don't have to use that glass to get rid of it. You could have just counted it, but I use glasses so they're easy to count. Sorry, the music was loud in my ears, sorry. Now remember that our original height of our outpost was 84. You're going to want to keep it a couple of blocks, at least 3 blocks underneath the top of that, so that we actually have, so that the pillagers will actually spawn. They don't like to spawn on the roof, so we're going to bring these up to 80 for a couple of reasons. One, because it is a nice, easy number to remember. 2, like I said, we don't want to take it all the way to 84 because they won't spawn up there. Oh, my controller died. Embarrassing. This will be where our pillagers spawn. I'm going to lock the daylight cycle just for easy build so you can see what I'm doing. If you're doing this survival, you obviously can't do this, but this is for the video. Okay, so this will be where our pillagers spawn. Now, we're at 80. You're going to need to remember that number because the rest of the farm is based on this number right here, this number alone. Like, where our villager is at, where our AFK spot is at, where our striding killer is at, all of these numbers are based on this number right here, 80. So this number might be different for you. Your number might be 82, your number might be 78. It depends on where your outpost is. Your number may be 90. Like, I can't tell you what your number is. It needs to be 3 or 4 spots underneath the top of the outpost. And then you'll need to add and subtract the numbers like I'll tell you here in a minute. Okay? So we're going to build an instant push one. The pillagers and pillager captains will spawn in here. They'll spawn on this block. This glass block will make them fall off instantly. They will fall to the northwest. They will all fall in this direction. Okay, now we need to make a water stream to collect them. 1, 2, 3. Now we keep this 3 high because of ravagers, because of pillagers, that kind of thing. You can even make it up to 4 high if you want to. It doesn't need to be 4 high, but you can make it that high if you want to. Just connect these like this. And if you're building this in survival, you can do this step before you build up. Just remember that you need to keep it below 80. Or whatever your number is. Okay, now that we have that, we're going to build our middle drop chute. So bring this in 2 on each side. This middle hole was 7 by 7, as we demonstrated earlier. This will be the common drop chute that both your pillagers and pillager captains will fall through. And the one where we're going to build a platform here, this will be where your raid spawns, and they will fall through here also. Now you can build this from the bottom up, so if you're in survival, it doesn't have to be made out of glass. Make it out of dirt, make it out of stone, whatever you want to make it out of. I'm making it out of glass because I think it looks nicer. And that's kind of what the point of this raid farm is. This raid farm won't make any more or any less than any other raid farm. It just looks nicer, and the controls are much easier to operate. It's easier to build. You don't have to climb ladders for 2 hours to get up there. I mean, we're not playing ladder simulator. Like I said, my goal in designing this was ease of operation, ease of build. I didn't like the fact that you had to climb 40,000 scaffolding to get to the raid farm every time. I mean, you should be able to AFK near the... You just have to have your AFK spots, and your storage, everything, your on and off switch. You should have to have all that near the player. It should be easy to operate. Now, if you're in survival, you're probably going to need a little bit of scaffolding and stuff like that to climb up and down and build this thing. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to dig out this, and we're going to dig all the way down to 55. Because what we want to do is dig down 25 blocks from 80. And 80 minus 25 is 55. Because we need to be more than 24 blocks away from the pillager and captain spawn point so that they will actually spawn. Okay, now I'm actually disoriented and don't know which direction is what. Okay, I want our entrance to be, I don't know, approximately right here. So we'll go this way. All of this will make sense in just a minute. This is for the trident killer and the redstone for the trident killer. It'll all start coming together in just a second. Need regular piston. Need that. Oh, I need a switch. I'm going to wrap that up. Okay. Put your pistons in like that, 3x3. We built a 3x3 trident killer. This is not usual. Most people build a 2x2. We built a 3x3 because the Ravager beasts fall through so much faster. Like I said, this is built on speed. Put your redstone on top of your pistons. Bring it around like that. Do the same for the other side. Okay, now what you're going to need to do, put your redstone torch like that. Whoops. Put your repeater facing that way. Now you're going to want to slow it down, so I'll move it all the way to 4 ticks. Put your block here, put your block there. And there's our repeater clock. Now that is incredibly loud, so we're going to turn that down. Oh, I put the lever on the wrong side, sorry. Now, you can fill this back in. You don't need to see this, or you can see it if you want to. I like to see it to make sure that my redstone's operating. So I put glass. Now what you want to do is just give yourself a little bit of room right here. This is going to be your AFK spot. This is going to be your quote-unquote underground base here. Just give yourself a little bit of room. Make it feel nice. I mean, if you're building this in survival, this is for your survival world. Decorate it up a little bit. Use some nice blocks. Make sure you have nice lighting down here. Now it's time to put in the collection system. We'll need a chest. Alright, place down your 2 chests right here. We'll also need hoppers. some carpet. Any color carpet will work. Make a fancy pattern. And we'll need some tridents. Oh, where am I going? Okay. Going into there. It doesn't matter how you orient those. Just make sure they're all going into another hopper, and then this one is going into that one. Like I said, if you want to make a fancy pattern, you can. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Make it all 50 colors, I don't care. This is your base. You design it how you want. Use your colors. You don't have to do one per block. I just like to OCD. Okay. Now right here, this is your one on and off switch. What is wrong with me? Oh, I'm crouched. Okay. When your pillagers fall down here, the pillager captains, they will die, and that will trigger the raid. You'll get bad omen, and that will trigger the raid. If this is off and the pillager captain spawn and falls down here, no raid is triggered. This is your one on and off system right here. Oh wow, this is a whole entire cave system here. I had no idea. I'm going to fill some of this in because it's going to come into use later. I mean, the chances are that you won't have a giant cave underneath yours like I do. So this isn't really relevant to the tutorial, but I'm going to fill it in anyways. Okay. This is going to be your entrance and exit. You can use ladders. You can use scaffolding. If I had a recommendation, I would say use scaffolding. Just because it's so easy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, there you go. To get in and out of your base, you just use a scaffolding right here. Here's your AFK. Now, if I was doing this in survival, what I would do is I would dig out a second room, and I would dig this out, and I would fill this with storage. Since this is a tutorial, I'm not going to do that. You can figure that out on your own. You're smart people. You can figure it out. Like I said, I'd have a hopper underneath this chest, and I would fill that with storage underneath. Because you're going to need a ton of storage for this. This thing, like one raid will fill up this chest. And I mean, you can have multiple raids per hour. This thing clears a raid in like 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, something like that. So now pretty much the bottom of this is done. Let's clear inventory. We don't need all this stuff. Let's see. We'll fill it with glass, stairs, stone. Water buckets. And I don't know, let's say leaves probably. Okay, the rest of this is pretty straightforward. We're going to build an 8x8 platform here. I mean a 19x19 platform. It'll go out 8 to each side. So we already have 3. Then we'll go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're making this water collection system just so we can collect all 4 of these spots in one spot. Like I said, we're about simplifying the try and killer and the on and off buttons. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And with this design is what I wanted to do is I wanted to move all the controls to one location. So that you didn't have to have this giant tower way up in the air that required multiple ladders and multiple on and off switches. And 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I wanted it to be simpler to build, and I wanted it to be simpler to operate. Alright, we're almost finished. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now that you have that done, punch the corners out. Now you may recognize this pattern from my iron farm. There are other water patterns you can use, but this is the one I use. This is the one I like. Works well, it's easy to build. It's easy to remember how it works. Build a 19 by 19 platform. Put your stairs around it like this. It's super dependable. Works all the time. It's easy to build. And like I said, this platform is oversized for this application. I could have made it much smaller. But I wanted to make it this size because I'm going to build on top of it. I'm going to build a raid platform on top of it. So it would have looked, it's just easier to make it a little bit larger so that the raid platform fits on it nicely. Okay, now that you have that, there's going to be one more thing right here for this middle. 1, 2, 3. You're going to build up a small little platform right here. 1, 2, 3. These are throwaway blocks, so make them out of dirt or stone or whatever you want to make them out of, cobblestone. Something you don't care about breaking. I mean, not glass, obviously, because if you're in survival, that you don't want to waste resources. Just make these out of dirt or sand or something, and then do it like this. 2, 3. So this right here will actually be 4. So build your 3 like this. You'll see why we're doing this in a minute. It's to keep the, to make sure that it's dark. We want it to be dark right here on those platforms right there. And if it's sunlight coming in through here, it'll be too bright for the captains and the pillagers to spawn. So then now that we have that done, just build up our walls. This is kind of a tedious part, but I'm not going to cut it. Now, remember that our original spawn location for our pillagers is 80. So we're going to need to keep that in mind when we start placing villagers. If you're in survival, that's going to be the hardest part of this. Like, how do I get up villagers in so many spots? It's so high. Also, if you have a village or anything like that, breeders or anything like that, any source of village and villagers, beds, that kind of thing, within 100 blocks up here, you need to break them. This farm is very dependent upon the villager that I place at the top of this being the center of the village, because the raids spawn on that villager. The raids don't give a crap where you are. In some of my testing, in a flat world, I put a villager at spawn height, and the raids would spawn at 4. I mean, there's no Y value to these raids. They'll spawn wherever they can. They try to spawn in a radius, but if you don't give them a place to spawn, they'll spawn anywhere. So you can't do this differently than I'm doing it. It won't work. You'll have a terrible time. Also, once we have the raid platform built, you'll notice that right here in the next couple of chunks over, we have these mountains. They're going to be taller than the raid platform. You're going to need to take those down. This won't apply to you if you're in like a plains area or a desert, because typically you don't have these large chunks of ground like this. I'm not asking you to terraform any of this ground over here, but this first chunk or two right here, you're going to need to take that down. I mean, that's a little bit of work, but I think it's a lot less work than, and the results are worth it to have the one switch to turn it on and off, and to also have just a much simpler where you don't have to climb so many scaffolding every time you want to go visit your raid farm. But when we get this thing built, you're going to be like, wow, that looks much better than a typical raid farm. I mean, these blocks can be made out of anything. Polish, andesite, smooth. I mean, this is stone, but you can make it out of like smooth stone. You can make it out of stone bricks, in stone, whatever you want to make it out of. Make it out of dirt if you want to. Be like I have a dirt raid farm. I mean, there are no exotic blocks in this, so you could build this pretty early on. You can make it out of cobblestone. I mean, the most expensive part of this is like the pistons and the hoppers. But I mean, with the XP you're getting, because you're going to be getting XP from both the raid and from the pillager captains. With the XP you're getting, you'll be able to trade with villagers. I mean, you'll be able to enchant your gear. Plus the amount of books you're going to be getting is going to be crazy. I mean, as far as an early farm, this is one of the best ones to build. Before we completely close that up, I want to go ahead and put water in here. Just because there's going to be pillagers and stuff in here spawning soon. If you've done this correctly. Oh, we also need to break these blocks out. If you've done this correctly, a all of your pillager captains, all of your pillagers, will flow directly into your Trident Killer. Now this platform both serves as to make it dark in there where the captains and pillagers spawn, but it also serves as the raid platform. It'll be a little wider than the one for the captain and the pillagers. Because in early testing, I had a problem with the Ravager spawning outside. So I realized if I increased it by just a little bit of width, that 100% of them would spawn on this platform. And it only happened on hard mode where you have seven waves, and there's a couple of those last waves where you have 2 Ravagers, and like, I forget how many, like 9 guys spawn also, and there just wasn't enough room. They would force spawn one of them outside. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Two, three, four, 5. Did you hear that? That's already we already have pillagers spawning. See, if he was a captain, we turn that on, and we had a villager anywhere near here, we would have an instant raid. But because it's not turned on, and because we don't have a villager, we control when raids happen. Now, all of the original pillagers are still here. We didn't kill them yet. You may want to do that when you first start, like when you're tearing down the structure, because they will attack you. But I'm in creative, so that wasn't an issue for me. But when I built this in survival, they totally did. So when you get here, the first thing you want to do is kill all the pillagers. You may notice there are a few around. See, they're right here. And there's one down in the hole right there. We'll just kill those real fast, so that we can see them. We can see them start spawning in our farm. Now you don't want to type kill E right here without giving a quantifier. I can't tap. Tapping is hard. At E, and you want to go ahead and hit a quantifier type equals, and you want to type pillager, and that'll kill all the pillagers, including the one in our farm. But if you didn't type that, you would have just killed all your tridents, because they count as entities also. Okay, our raid platform is complete. Once again, knock the corners off. Also remember that if you are having trouble with pillagers when you first get here, free these iron golems. These iron golems will wreck those guys. Alright, add our corner blocks. Like I said, there are no weird blocks in this. It's all pretty straightforward. Just a matter of doing it. I mean, if you step back and take a picture of this thing already looks incredibly much better than a typical raid farm. I mean, the only thing left to do is build a few walls up, place our villager, and a couple other things to differentiate this from other raid farms, and we're done. So like I said, we're almost done. I'll try to keep this video as short as possible. I know it's a long one, but a lot of research went into this. Spawning distances, like I said, a raid can spawn at any Y. I mean, there's no distance that a raid can't spawn from a villager on the Y axis. On the X and Z axis, it seems to be like a radius of about 36 to 54 is where it likes to spawn. And the outpost here, that you need to be within 24, or you need to be more than 24, but less than 54 blocks away to get a pillager and captain to spawn. And you need those guys to actually trigger the raids. But you have to be within somewhere around 30 to 40 blocks of a villager to actually let the raid trigger. Now these walls are important, and I know it seems tedious, but these walls are important so that none of the pillagers spill out. They'll try to swim against the water a little bit, and they'll get up on top of these, and they'll jump right out of this. They are the worst. Now, what we don't want is for anybody to spawn up here on top. So we're going to spawn proof it with leaf blocks. You can use any kind of leaves. These are oak, but you can use birch or acacia or dark oak, whatever you have, jungle. I think that's all. Oh, there's spruce. You can use spruce trees if you want to. Spruce leaves. Now there's that. Add our water. I should add it in the right place, unlike me. Like I said, if you've done it correctly, occasionally these, because we built over the edge of a river biome right here, you may get drowned, you may get fish, you'll end up with cod down there, you'll end up with bones. Look at that, look at all of our, if we had a villager, we turn that on, we would probably, oh, I don't see any captains yet. We would totally trigger a raid if there was a captain there. You see how fast those guys spawn. You're going to end up with free food, bones. You may end up with tridents in here. I've seen a little bit of everything. Now it comes to the part that's a little tricky. It's like, how do you get a villager way up here? Well, I recommend nether portals. I recommend rails. I mean, you could use boats and leashes if you needed to. There's many ways to move villagers. But like I said, I'm in creative, so I'm just going to do it the easy way. It's very important that you place this on the center of your farm. So remember our number 80? We're going to add 70 blocks to that. Then we're going to go up to 130. Now a village can go 75 blocks vertically. It has a detection range of that. The way you place this bed, you're going to want the pillow on that center block. Weather clear. Now you're going to want to do this at night. You can wait for it to be night, or you can just do like I did and put it at night. He's going to get in bed. What you're going to do is encase him in glass. You can also use leaves. I just think the glass looks better. But you're never going to see this guy again. You're never going to come back up here. The only time you might come back up here is if your raid suddenly starts spawning all over the ground. You may have had a problem with him. You may have had a lightning strike or something, in which case you'll need to replace all your villagers. Now, this farm actually requires multiple villagers, 3 to be in fact. You have to place them just like I do. You have to start with that villager right there. You can't decide you're going to place some of the lower villagers first. That guy's first. Because the raid spawns on him. Did I not put it his day? Look, you see that? Drowned. Let's get on in there, buddy. The raid spawns on him. So he is important that he's first. He is the village. He is the center of the village. I need a map. Okay. Now, I prefer to put this second villager here in this corner right here, the southeast corner, because like I said, these guys spawn towards the northwest. So these guys will spawn this direction and follow the water stream and then go that way. You're going to need a second villager. So once again, we want to make it night. Really doesn't matter the orientation of the bed. Link to your bed, Brady. Bro, I will push you right into the water. I'm not sure why he didn't link to that bed, but if that happened to you, I don't know, kill your villager. I mean, you saw the second one obviously did. It's I don't know, something's wrong with that villager. He had problems. So, what this does is it actually extends the village down. Because like I said, the detection range of that first village is 75 blocks, but we're at 70 blocks right here. So that this villager is actually in that village also. To make a village, you only need one villager and one bed. But what I've done is extended this village down. I would recommend doing that from the outside, is to like dig through the side of the blocks, but you do however you want to. If you think you can do it from the inside, you go ahead. I shouldn't have punched a hole in that. Where's that block at? There it is. Like I said, I recommend doing this from the outside, but I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. Now, to doubly make sure that we are within range of a villager, we're going to add a third villager. Make sure it's still on nighttime. Or if you're in survival, wait for it to be nighttime. Link to your bed, bro. Get in your bed. What are you doing with your life? Now, we don't want anything bad to happen to this guy, so go ahead and put him in the last two. And like I said, we have an on and off switch. We can kill these guys at any time we want to. Now we just have to wait for a pillager captain. Oh, one more thing before we start triggering raids. Oh wow, if I'd have been creative, that'd have been terrible. One last thing before we start triggering the raids is we need to take this down. You don't have to take it down that low, but I am. That should be enough. The rest of this is low enough. We're fine. It's not a ton of terraform, but it's a little bit. You may not want to do that. That's fine. You're always free to build traditional. Now, I've always had a problem with the zombies standing here, and I don't know how to solve this because they're after that villager. I mean, light up the area, light up the river. A lot of times you won't even have a river, you'll be in a desert, so use your best judgment on how to zombie-proof that. And like I said, I would build a ton of storage if I was building this in. Now we just have to wait on a pillager captain. Like I said, we have 4 spots, so in theory, you know, it will happen faster than it will in other raid farms. People will cut this stuff out. But my phone is triggering. Well, one more change to this. I forgot to do this when I built this originally, but I mean, we built this thing for XP mainly. So we want XP to come to us. Okay, that was a pillager captain. We got the bad omen. You see the raid triggering. Let's put it on hard mode so that we have, I don't know if this will affect the raid in the middle of the raid, but like you see how fast it's destroying the raid. They're just falling down here and dying. Oh, we've got to light up the area. You should totally put torches down here. Or glowstone or something. You hear the raid horn? I mean, every raid just gets wrecked. I mean, you can see how fast our chest is filling up. That's why I said below here you should actually have more storage. You could put a grindstone down there, put a smelter. Wait, like I said, all our storage, our on and off switch, it's all right here at our hand. We're not 1,000 miles in the air. We're right here. Just watch the raid form. Another pillager captain done. See? Just like that. They spawn right here on the raid platform. They go down to the single trident killer. They are killed. Next raid spawns. It's that easy. We don't have a tower that goes 1,000 miles in the air. We don't have to climb hundreds of scaffolding. We're right here on the ground. You could build a tunnel to this. You could build stairs. You don't have to use this scaffolding. You could use a ladder. You could put a trap door there. Whatever you want to do. And honestly, if you ask me, this looks a million times better than most raid farms. Alright, that's it. I mean, you see that? If you're like, I don't want any more raids. Okay, so once you see that. Oh, we have bad omen. I was going to say, once that you got the hero of the village, if you had turned it off, you wouldn't have any more raids. But we got here too late. So let's watch one more raid. This is actually will be a hard mode one. It'll be 7 waves instead of the 5 that we just had. Look at those pillager captains are dying. I mean, that was a normal mode raid. I mean, see, like we're getting Nautilus shells from our drown. We're getting fish and bones. I mean, you can stay down here and eat. You can use a looting sword, like a looting 3 sword. Keep it on the wall right here. Put your little item frame right there. Put it in your hand when you want to use it. I'm going to show you a non-looting version though, but like I said, this differs because what I've done is I've extended the village downward so that I can be AFK closer to the ground. rather than have to AFK way in the air. Like I said, if I had a tunnel to a base, I could have stairs going up to the surface. I could design this any way I want to. Have more storage underground. There's scaffolding right here, and you can just go down to your next level. This is very customizable for your base, unlike a typical raid farm, which is like I said, it's, you know, hundreds of blocks in the air. I'm gonna finish this raid, and then we'll turn this off, and then that'll be the end of the tutorial. But they're clear because I hate hearing the thunder. You see that? I had two Ravagers fall here at the same time, and a 2x2 that doesn't happen. They sit there and they butt up against each other, and they don't fall down the hole. It can take serious time for them to both figure out who's going to go first. You see that two Ravagers again at the same time. They can fit in a 3x3 area where it's a tough time for both of them to fit down the 2x2 chute at the same time. Now watch. We turn this off. We have the hero of the village, as you see. And no more raids. It doesn't matter if, see, there's the captain right there. If we wanted another raid, all we have to do is hit this button. Another raid will start instantly. Or we could just simply walk away and be like, we'll see you later, buddy. He'll be there when we get back. I mean, he may despawn, but it's not a big deal. If we wanted another raid, watch this. Instant raid. In these raids, if you leave this machine on, we'll spawn back to back to back until your storage is full. I mean, this is 2 raids worth. Like I said, you're going to need a ton of chests and a ton of hoppers underneath. This thing makes so much. And this is without looting 3. Imagine with looting 3. Like, we have a stack of emeralds here, and it's been like 4 or 5 minutes. Like, that's crazy. Alright, well that concludes our tutorial. I'll give you one last shot of the raid farm. You can build this in a river biome, you can build it in a desert, you can build it anywhere you want to. Like I said, the things you want to look out for, make sure it's a 4 spawn one. It doesn't have to be, but it's much better if it is. The outposts come in 1, 2, or 4. In my last video, I explained how to see the difference. You need to keep in mind the height of the outposts, the height of the captain and pillager spawns, because the rest of our locations are based on that. That one is 70 above the pillager spawn location, and this one is 25. Your AFK spot is 25 below. And that's it. Pretty much simple. Build a platform for your pillagers to wash into your AFK trident killer. Build a platform for your raiders to spawn on. Make sure there's nothing higher than that for at least 2 or 3 chunks. I mean, some of the stuff over here is approaching the height, but don't worry about it. It hasn't been a problem. The problem is that this was within 3 chunks, so 2 or 3 chunks, just knock down stuff that's higher than it. And that's the raid farm. Look how much better that looks than most. Alright, thank you for watching.